My dad laughed when I said I'd be rich one day and called me delusional. Then his lawyer called me because he needs my money to save his house. Friends, your love keeps this channel alive. Please hit subscribe, and don't forget to say hi in the comments with your city or country. We read them all. My phone buzzed during my lunch break at the marketing firm where I just made senior director. Unknown number. I almost declined it, but something told me to answer. Ms. Lillian Morrison. This is Gerald Feldman from Feldman and Associates. I'm calling on behalf of your father, Edward Morrison. My fork clattered against my salad bowl. I hadn't spoken to my father in 8 years, not since that night when I was 22, standing in his living room with my business proposal, watching him laugh until tears streamed down his face. You? Start a digital marketing company? He'd wheezed, clutching his sides. Baby girl, you're delusional. You barely graduated college. You think some little website-making business is gonna make you rich? His girlfriend at the time, Vanessa, had giggled from the couch, her acrylic nails clicking against her wine glass. My half-brother Jamal, then 16, had at least looked uncomfortable. Ms. Morrison. Are you there? The lawyer's voice pulled me back. My hands trembled as I set down my phone, putting it on speaker. I'm here. What does he want? Your father is facing foreclosure on his property. He's accumulated significant debt, and the bank has initiated proceedings. He's listed you as a potential co-signer for a loan refinancing. He mentioned you're doing quite well financially now. I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound that made my assistant Crystal peek through my office door with concern. Doing well was an understatement. My company had just been valued at $42 million. Tell him no, I said, but Feldman continued talking over me. Ms. Morrison, before you decide, you should know your father is quite desperate. The house, it's the family home where you grew up, correct? He's requested I emphasize the sentimental value. Sentimental value. The words tasted like acid. That house held nothing but painful memories wrapped in peeling wallpaper and disappointment. I closed my eyes, and I was 22 again, standing in that cramped living room that smelled like Vanessa's cheap perfume and my father's Hennessy. Lillian, listen, Dad had said after his laughter died down. I'm trying to save you from embarrassment. You don't have what it takes to run a business. You're not built like that. Your mama wasn't either, rest her soul, and you got her soft nature. Sometimes you gotta accept what you are. And what am I? I'd asked, my voice barely above a whisper. My business plan, months of research, mock-ups, client projections, felt heavy in my hands. You're a dreamer, baby. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But dreams don't pay bills. That temp job at the call center. That's more your speed. Steady. Safe. You should be grateful you got that. Vanessa had nodded enthusiastically. Your daddy's just being real with you, Lillian. My cousin tried starting a business too. Lost everything. Edward is protecting you. I'd looked at Jamal, hoping for something, anything. He just shrugged and went back to his phone. Ms. Morrison. Feldman's voice cut through the memory. I understand this is complicated, but perhaps we could arrange a meeting. Your father is quite. How much does he need? I interrupted. Crystal had fully entered my office now, mouthing, everything okay? I waved her away, but she lingered by the door. Papers rustled on Feldman's end. The total debt is approximately $375,000. Between the mortgage arrears, home equity loans, and credit lines secured against the property, he needs roughly $400,000 to clear everything and avoid foreclosure. $400,000. I spent more than that on my downtown loft renovation. The irony wasn't lost on me. When's the foreclosure date? 30 days. Look, I know this is awkward. Your father mentioned you two haven't spoken in years. He seems to think, well, he believes you've been successful. He saw an article about your company in Black Enterprise magazine. My stomach twisted. So he'd been keeping tabs. All these years of silence, and he'd been watching from the shadows. Did he say anything else? Feldman hesitated. He said, and I quote, "My daughter's got a good heart. She'll help family when it matters." He also mentioned he's been sick. Diabetes complications, kidney issues. He's on dialysis 3 times a week. The sympathy card. Classic dad. I remembered when I was 16, and he'd promised to come to my debate team championship. Didn't show because Vanessa wanted to go to Atlantic City. When I confronted him, he'd had chest pains, convenient, mysterious chest pains that disappeared the next day. After Feldman hung up, with my non-committal, "I'll think about it," I immediately called my best friend since college, Trina Washington. She answered on the first ring. "What's wrong? You never call during work hours." I filled her in, and her response was immediate, "Girl, no. Absolutely not. Block that lawyer's number right now." I know. But nothing, Lillian. Do you not remember crying on my dorm room floor? Do you not remember how you ate ramen for 2 years straight, working 3 jobs to get your business off the ground? How you slept in your car some nights because you couldn't afford rent and web hosting? I did remember. Every painful moment was etched into my soul like a scar. Those first 2 years after leaving Dad's house, I'd been homeless twice, couch-surfed with anyone who'd have me, and seriously considered giving up at least a dozen times. He called you delusional, Lillian. To your face. And then didn't speak to you for 8 years. Now he wants your money. Trina's voice rose. Let that house burn. But there was something she didn't know, something I'd never told anyone. A secret that had haunted me for years, buried deep where the shame couldn't reach. There's more to it, I said quietly. Crystal had finally left, closing my door. Something I never told you about that night. What night? The night I left Dad's house for good. After he laughed at me, after Vanessa made her comments, I went to my old bedroom to pack. And I found something. Documents hidden in Dad's closet. What kind of documents? Trina's voice had gone deadly serious. She knew that tone, the one I used when something had cut deep. I took a breath, the memory flooding back with perfect clarity. My mother's life insurance policy. The one Dad always said didn't exist, that Mama didn't believe in life insurance. He lied. She had a $250,000 policy, and I was listed as the sole beneficiary. She'd set it up 6 months before she died, when I was 18. Silence stretched between us. When Trina finally spoke, her voice was ice. Tell me he didn't. He forged my signature. I found the paperwork, the claim forms with a signature that looked like mine but wasn't. He collected that money 3 months after her funeral. I was 19, working at Target, and he cashed in my inheritance while taking me out to dinner acting like he was struggling to pay Mama's medical bills. Lillian. Trina breathed. Why didn't you ever? Because I was young and scared and didn't know what to do, I said, feeling the old anger resurface. I confronted him that night, after the laughing stopped. You know what he said? You weren't ready for that kind of money. I invested it in the house, in raising you. You should be thanking me. The argument that followed had been volcanic. Vanessa had called me ungrateful. Dad had said I was being dramatic, that I didn't understand how expensive it was to raise a child alone. Your mama would be ashamed of you right now, accusing me of stealing, he'd said. That's when I'd left. Packed one suitcase, took my laptop, and walked out. We need to talk to a lawyer, Trina said immediately. Lillian, that's fraud. There's no statute of limitations on. I already consulted with someone, back when I started making real money. 3 years ago. I pulled up the file on my computer, a consultation with Patricia Lawson, a sharp-eyed attorney who'd reviewed everything. The statute of limitations in our state is 5 years for this type of fraud. It's been 8. I waited too long. Are you serious right now? Trina was furious. So he just gets away with it. Legally, yes. Patricia said I could try to sue in civil court, but proving the forgery now, with Mama gone and no witnesses, would be nearly impossible. Dad could claim I gave him permission verbally. It would cost me more in legal fees than I'd recover, and it would drag through courts for years. I stared at the Black Enterprise magazine on my desk, the one with my face on the cover. 20 under 40, young black entrepreneurs changing the game, the headline read. They'd interviewed me about overcoming adversity, about starting with nothing. I'd kept the part about Dad out of it, just said I came from humble beginnings. So what are you going to do? Trina asked. Before I could answer, my office phone buzzed. Crystal's voice came through the intercom. Lillian, there's a Jamal Morrison here to see you. Says he's your brother. He doesn't have an appointment, but... Send him in, I said, my heart suddenly hammering. I hung up with Trina and stood, smoothing my Armani blazer. Jamal walked into my office, and I barely recognized him. The skinny teenager had filled out into a man of 24, wearing a wrinkled button-down and carrying himself with the weight of someone much older. His eyes, the same hazel as our father's, looked tired. Lillian, he said, stopping just inside the door. I know I got no right to be here. Sit down, Jamal. I gestured to the chair across from my desk, keeping my tone neutral. We hadn't spoken since that night either. He'd chosen Dad's side by default, by silence. He sat, fidgeting with his phone. I heard Dad's lawyer called you. I told him it was wrong, that he shouldn't ask you for nothing after everything, but he wouldn't listen. He never listens. Then why are you here? I kept my voice level, professional. This was a negotiation now, whether he knew it or not. Because you deserve to know the truth about everything. About what really happened after you left. Jamal leaned forward, and I saw his hands were shaking. Vanessa cleaned him out, Lillian. Every penny. Remember how she was always talking about her business opportunities. Turns out she was running up credit cards in Dad's name, taking out home equity loans. She disappeared 4 years ago with some dude from Atlanta, left Dad with almost $400,000 in debt. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no sympathy. Just cold curiosity. And Dad? What did he do? Got sicker. The diabetes got bad because he wasn't managing it. Stopped going to dialysis regularly because he was depressed. He lost his job at the plant 2 years ago, they downsized. He's been living off disability and whatever odd jobs he can find. Jamal, I appreciate you coming here, but this doesn't change anything. Dad made his choices. I started to stand, but Jamal raised his hand. Wait. There's something else. Something he made me promise never to tell you. His voice cracked. Your mama's life insurance money. He didn't invest it in the house like he said. He gave most of it to his brother, Uncle Raymond. You remember Uncle Ray? I sat back down slowly. Uncle Raymond. Dad's younger brother, the one who'd done 2 stints in prison for drug trafficking. Why would he give Ray that money? Ray was in trouble with some people. Serious people. They threatened to kill him if he didn't pay his debts. Dad gave him $200,000 to save his life. Used the rest to pay off Mama's remaining medical bills, the ones insurance didn't cover. It was almost 50 grand. My head spun. That's not. Dad said he forged my name because I wasn't ready for the money. That he used it for the house, for raising me. He lied to you because he was ashamed, Jamal said quietly. He knew you'd hate him for giving your inheritance to Uncle Ray. But Lillian, they would have killed Ray. Dad was choosing between his brother's life and being honest with you. He chose wrong, I know that. But it wasn't just greed. I stood and walked to my window, looking down at the Atlanta skyline. 40 stories below, people moved like ants, all carrying their own complicated stories. Did Uncle Ray ever pay him back? Ray died 6 months later. Overdose. The money was just gone. There's one more thing. Jamal pulled an envelope from his jacket pocket. I found this in Dad's things when I was looking for documents for the lawyer. It's addressed to you. From Mama. Dad never gave it to you. My hands trembled as I took the envelope. The handwriting, Mama's careful, looping script, made my eyes blur with tears. The postmark was dated 3 weeks before she died. He kept this from me for 8 years. I think he was scared of what it said. I didn't read it. That's between you and Mama. After Jamal left, promising to call me later, asking if we could try to rebuild our relationship, I sat at my desk for 20 minutes, just staring at that envelope. Finally, I opened it. My dearest Lillian. If you're reading this, I'm gone, and I need you to know some things. I've set up a life insurance policy with you as the beneficiary. Your father doesn't know the amount, and I need you to be smart with it. Don't tell him right away. Wait until you're settled, until you know what you want. Baby, your daddy loves you, but he's weak when it comes to family. His brother Raymond has been calling, asking for money again, and I know Edward will cave. He always does. That money is for your future, not Raymond's mistakes. I've also written something I need you to understand. Your father isn't a bad man. He's a weak man, and there's a difference. He'll disappoint you. He'll let you down. But somewhere under all that weakness is a man who loves you more than he knows how to show. Don't let his weakness become your burden. Chase your dreams, baby girl. Be stronger than both of us. All my love, Mama. I read it 3 times, tears streaming down my face, ruining my makeup. Crystal knocked softly and cracked the door. Lillian. Your 3 o'clock is here. Cancel it, I said. Cancel everything today. That night, I sat in my loft with a bottle of wine I didn't drink, staring at Mama's letter and trying to untangle 8 years of anger. Trina had come over after I called her, sitting across from me on my white leather couch. So what are you thinking? She asked gently. I'm thinking my mother was right. Dad is weak. But knowing why he stole from me doesn't make it okay. It doesn't erase him laughing at my dreams. It doesn't excuse 8 years of silence. No, it doesn't, Trina agreed. But it does complicate things. My phone rang. Feldman again. I let it go to voicemail, but I played it on speaker. Ms. Morrison, I've been instructed to inform you that your father had a medical episode this morning. He's in Grady Hospital, stable but serious. He wanted me to tell you that he understands if you say no about the money. He said, and I'm quoting, "Tell Lillian I'm proud of her. Even if she hates me, I'm proud. She did it without my help, just like she said she would." The message ended. Trina looked at me with those knowing eyes. What are you going to do, Lillian? And don't tell me what you think you should do. Tell me what your gut says. I thought about Mama's words, don't let his weakness become your burden, but I also thought about the girl I'd been at 22, so desperate for her father's approval that his laughter had nearly destroyed her. That girl was gone. In her place was a woman who'd built an empire from nothing. I'm going to see him, I said finally. But I'm not giving him the money. Not yet. Not until we talk. Really talk. Grady Hospital smelled like antiseptic and desperation. a scent I remembered from Mama's last days. I found Dad's room on the 4th floor, and for a moment, I just stood outside, gathering courage. Through the small window, I could see him, smaller than I remembered, grayer, tubes running from his arms. I pushed open the door. His eyes opened, and when he saw me, something broke in his expression. "Lillian. Baby girl. You came." "Don't," I said sharply, staying by the door. "Don't baby girl me. We're not there. We may never be there again." He nodded slowly, tears slipping down his weathered cheeks. "You got every right to hate me. Every single right. What I did, lying about your mama's money, laughing at your dreams, I got no excuses that matter. Jamal told me about Uncle Raymond. About why you took the money." I moved closer, standing at the foot of his bed. "It doesn't make it right, but I understand why you lied." "I was a coward," Dad said, his voice hoarse. "I chose Ray over you because he was dying either way, from those men or from his addiction, and I thought I had more time with you. Time to explain, time to make it right. But the longer I waited, the harder it got to pick up that phone. You should have called when you saw the Black Enterprise article. When you knew I'd succeeded." He laughed bitterly. "And say what? Congratulations, daughter, I destroyed." "I was ashamed, Lillian. Ashamed that you did exactly what you said you'd do, without me, despite me." I pulled up a chair, sat down heavily. "Mama left me a letter. You kept it from me for 8 years. Dad's face crumbled. "Oh God. The letter. Lillian, She knew you'd give my money to Raymond. She warned me about you, Dad. She told me you were weak." I pulled out the letter, held it up. "She also said you loved me. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to pay off your debt. All of it." Hope flashed across his face, but I raised my hand. "I'm not finished. I'm paying it off with conditions. Non-negotiable conditions. You listening?" He nodded frantically. "Anything. Lillian, anything you want. First, you sell that house. I'll pay off the debt, but you don't get to keep living in the place you chose over me. You sell it, downsize to something you can actually afford. Second, you go to dialysis. Every appointment, no excuses. Jamal will take you, and he'll report to me if you miss even one. Third, you get therapy. Real therapy, with a licensed counselor. I'll pay for it. You're going to work on why you make the choices you make." Dad was crying openly now. "Okay. Yes. All of it. Thank you, baby girl, thank you so much." "Fourth," I continued, my voice hard, "you write me a letter, handwritten, apologizing for everything. For stealing from me, for mocking my dreams, for choosing everyone else over me for years. You detail every single thing, and you own it. No excuses, no justifications. Just truth and accountability. I will. I promise I will. And fifth, we rebuild our relationship on my terms, at my pace. I'll call when I'm ready. I'll visit when I'm ready. You don't push. You don't guilt trip. You earn back my trust piece by piece, or you don't get it at all. Understood?" 3 months later, I stood in front of my company's board of directors, presenting our Q4 numbers. We'd exceeded projections by 38%. After the meeting, I checked my phone and saw a message from Jamal, a photo of Dad at dialysis, giving a weak thumbs up. 3 months perfect attendance, the text read. He's really trying, sis. That evening, I met Trina for dinner at our favorite spot in Buckhead. So, she said, raising her wine glass, how does it feel? Knowing you did the right thing. I don't know if it was the right thing, I admitted. But it was my thing. My choice. And for the first time in 8 years, I'm the one with the power. That has to count for something. The letter from Dad had arrived last week, 7 pages, front and back, his handwriting shaky but sincere. He'd detailed everything, the shame, the fear, the moment Vanessa left and he realized what he'd lost. He'd apologized for laughing at my dreams, for not seeing that I had Mama's strength instead of his weakness. You were never delusional, he'd written at the end. I was. Delusional enough to think I could keep you small so I wouldn't have to face my own failures. Delusional enough to believe money mattered more than integrity. You've taught me more about strength in these 3 months than I learned in 60 years of living. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I'll spend whatever time I have left earning it. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Ms. Morrison, this is Gerald Feldman. The house sold this morning, full asking price. Your father wanted me to tell you that he's moving into a modest apartment downtown and has enrolled in weekly therapy sessions. He also asked me to convey that he loves you and respects your boundaries. He won't contact you directly until you're ready. I smiled, showing Trina the message. She grinned back. Look at you. CEO, success story, and still the bigger person. I'm not being the bigger person, I corrected her. I'm being free. There's a difference. Dad needed to know that his opinion of me, good or bad, doesn't define me anymore. Maybe it never did. Outside, Atlanta sparkled in the twilight, full of possibility and second chances. I thought about that 22-year-old girl with her business plan and her broken heart. She'd walked out of her father's house with nothing but determination and a suitcase. She'd built an empire. And now, on her own terms, she was building something even harder, forgiveness. Not for him.